this is Ilina and welcome to another LDRS Creative card video. In this video I'm using the Pelargonium stamp set and we're gonna do some Faux Ink Blending. So I've been experimenting a lot with gel press lately, and I know that it works quite well with oxide inks, also with dye inks. So I decided to go ahead and test it with the LDRS Creative hybrid inks, and I'm really liking the results. So before we go on to using the gel press, I have a piece of white cardstock here and I have the Pelargonium stamp set. I'm gonna stamp the flower and the butterfly using the LDRS Creative Watermark ink and then emboss in white. This is just in preparation of doing our background. Since I didn't want to wait for the ink to dry after I've done my background, I'm stamping it ahead of time. That way we can just wipe off the ink on top of the embossing powder once we're done. So I'm preparing my cardstock using the anti-static powder pouch. So we make sure that the embossing powder will only stick on our image. I'm stamping both images at once with the watermark ink, and then I will apply white embossing powder. So it's really hard to see since we're embossing white on white, but you can see a little bit here that embossing powder is on top of the flower. Next, I'm preheating my heat tool. I'm just warming that cardstock on the back and then heat setting it from the front. So I think that looks good. And then I picked 3 LDRS Creative hybrid inks. I'm gonna switch them just in a second. So I'm gonna use Banana Cream Pie, Prickly Pear Perfection, and Tropical Sea. I have 5x7 gel press. It's a little bit stained, but it does its job. So I'm just using my stamp positioning tool. You don't need to do this. I found it easier instead of using it on its own. I am securing that piece of cardstock into my stamping positioning tool, and I'm applying the inks directly onto the gel press. I'm starting with the yellow, the Banana Cream Pie, then with the Prickly Pear Perfection and the Tropical Sea. Next, I'm using soft rubber brayer. This is 6-inch wide one. You can use any size you like. I just like to use the larger because it makes it a little bit faster. Now I'm just applying the ink that was left on the brayer on the gel press and creating some extra background. Now I want it a little bit darker background, so that's why I'm going back with the gel press, applying the same inks in same order. And this way you can build up the intensity on your background. So either you can leave it very pale, or you can add more ink to build that the saturation of the background. Again, I'm gonna create another background using the excess ink that was on the brayer, so I don't need to toss that away. So I'm repeating the same process for the 3rd time. I just apply a little bit more blue on the top. I'm starting to blend those colors from top to bottom. So I think I'm pretty satisfied with the background here, the blended look I got. Next, again, I'm cleaning my brayer onto my gel press and creating some extra background for future use. I really didn't want the ink to go to waste, so I decided to do this. So this one will be a little bit more pale than the one before because it's from the second wipe off that brayer. Now I use microfiber cloth to wipe off the excess ink from my embossed image, and the white it came back a little bit brighter than it was before once we removed that ink on top. Next, I trimmed that panel down to 4 by 5 1/4, And now we're gonna stamp a sentiment to add on to our card. I'm using white cardstock and I'm gonna stamp with the LDRS Creative Hybrid ink. This is Raven and it's black ink. I'm stamping a couple times to have nice saturated black sentiment. Also, we have coordinating dies for this stamp set, and the hug sentiment has its own die. So I'm using that one. I'll just secure it with some clear tape. And by magic of YouTube, I've already die cut. I'm just removing the excess pieces of the tape there. Just trying to see here where I want it to go onto my card. I think there it's good, and I'm adding some foam squares in the back to add a little bit extra dimension. So I think I covered the back pretty well. If you don't have foam squares, you can die cut that hug sentiment several times without stamping it and stack those layers together. So next I'm using some glitter pen to color in the flowers to add a little bit more sparkle, a bit more interest onto my panel. I'm just quickly coloring those, adding that sparkle. And I will do the same with the butterfly. Okay, next I'm using some strong adhesive to add on the back, and I'm adding craft foam to add a little bit more dimension, and using liquid glue I will adhere to a top folding white note card. We're almost done here. I just wanted to add a little bit more interest to my panel. So I'm adding little dots of glue, and I will add white halfback pearls scattered across my card. I'm adding different sizes for a little bit more interest. And that finishes our card. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the LDRS Creative YouTube channel for more ideas and inspiration, and also visit our blog. Thanks for watching. Bye!